studio Elmer Izier Lopez, the author of Crypto 101, Understanding the Future of Money. And cryptocurrency has now become mainstream. There was a time when it was very much not welcomed, and there was so much negativity being reported about cryptocurrency. But now we're realizing that the even the great players in the marketplace are now taking advantage of the opportunity that can be arrived from investing or purchasing cryptocurrency. And we have a gentleman that is has been doing these research for quite a number of years now and has claimed his position of authority in the space of cryptocurrency. So Elmar, we're just appreciative of you being here today, and you're going to give us some updates of what is happening. We just want to welcome individuals on a weekly. This broadcast is weekly. When you come here on this channel, this YouTube channel, you will be updating your getting grail as it happen information on what is happening in the world of digital currency, and in particular cryptocurrency as it is unfolding in the marketplace. So Elmer, welcome, and our audience is looking forward to hear what has been happening in the space of cryptocurrency. What do you have for us this week?
Yeah, so let's quick have an update of CBDCs. They are advancing. We are now at a very end of the road, and there we are already being past the point of no return. What's happening right now for the United States marketplace? So this is going to pretty much um, affect everyone that uses the dollar or everyone that believes or relies on the dollar. So the government, well, not the government, the Federal Reserve has been still doing what's considered quantitative tightening. I spoke a little bit about this. And what's happening is that they are extracting around $100 million a month out of the marketplace. And they have been doing quantitative tightening ever since 2021. We are in a big year because this is a year that is also an election year. So the market has to go through either a series of hiccups in order to get some numbers that would make it look good for the administration that's running currently. And so what's happening is what we are going to be witnessing here is that the Federal Reserve, it's not going to cut the rates yet, even though they would like to in order to alleviate what's considered growth, but they can't because they are still pulling money out of the marketplace. And if they were to release the percentage, that will only cost a bigger pain in a shorter period of time that we are already going to be experiencing. So
Or
they
just a minute, Elmer, because we hear the term quantitative tightening.
tightening,
Yeah. What? And you said that it is extracting of the
extracting the cash
dollar
flow
from the
out of the
market,
market.
cash, extracting cash from the market. Can you just for that person who doesn't know how this actually works, how does the Federal Reserve extract cash from the market? It's just that they once it goes into the bank, it doesn't come back into the economy, into the marketplace. Is that the way how it works?
Correct. So it gets taken out of circulation and it literally gets
Mhm.
burned on fire. So
Mm.
that is they have these places where they when they're doing, and they are constantly burning cash because there is notes that get taken out of circulation, and all of these notes they get thrown by the Federal Reserve to a company that would um, take all of these pallets of cash and they have to incinerate them. I don't only have the recollection from understanding the marketplace. I've actually met someone that worked in that place. It was something that they just didn't understood, even as they were working there. why was there so much cash being brought to be burned out? And right now, what we're seeing is that number, like I said a little while, was $100 million a month that they're withdrawing, taking out of the marketplace, and this is literally getting burned out. This is only to be able to withhold inflation, which has worked for some time, but the new CPI numbers came off, and we understand that it did not work. The numbers came out a lot higher than they were expecting. They came out obviously higher than what their goal post was, which it was the 2% mark, which we went back up to the 5% mark. So we are now sitting at a point of no return in the marketplace, which means that if we have been paying attention, many of the big players in the marketplace have been withdrawing and they have been selling out their positions. And we can only determine by this that there is that shortcoming. And as we understand the marketplace and are able to notice everything that it coincides into a marketplace having a correction and having to have a reset, which is what we're going to go through this time. It's something to be very aware of, and the reason why I would go on this trend here is because we are experiencing something we have never experienced before, which is the switch of the financial market as we know it. And so this is the reason why I made the book, is to be able to warn you and give you a quick lesson as to what is happening and what is to come and how to start preparing. And how to prepare, it's going to be the afterword. And so what's happening is that when this switch happens, as we're sitting right now, if in the American way, in the Americas, the cash will become useless. And so this is so that they can implement what I have been researching, which is the central bank digital currency. So it seems that we are now at the end of the road, and we are fixing to get switched over to a complete new financial system that they have already implemented. And they actually started to implement the new financial system in March of 2023. So it's already been tested. The test was successful. I also do know that there are certain cryptocurrency companies that are partners to be able to allow this complete new ecosystem for the financial world to assist. And obviously, this becomes to no surprise that there is an opportunity there to be had, because it still has not completely been put on, but which means we're early. However, it is a huge warning to be able to understand that there is a centralized space that is becoming a little bit overstepping the boundaries of what we understand as financial autonomy. And
All
so
right.
it is.
So to get the individual who's listening to us, because what I do recognize is that a lot of individuals in the out there, ordinary individuals who are just going about their lives, they have uh, very little understanding of how money works. They know that they get their pay, and whatever revenue comes to them, they go to the market, they spend. Now, just to break it down for them, for that individual to understand, there is the situation of inflation, and inflation is when there is too much dollars, too much cash in the market. So it is kind of like when you have more cash than goods. And because of that, you have the price, actually, the price of goods and services increase because there is a circulation where the seller now can choose how that he wants more, because there's a lot of dollars out there, so he can increase his price for the person who have the greater amount of cash. Am I describing inflation so that somebody can understand?
You're very close, Peter. I would
Well,
I would say I would say that inflation, that is one of the benefactors to inflation. There's more benefactors that include for inflation, such things as the velocity of which money is being exchanged. This is a telltale sign to understand whether the market is doing well or if the market is weak. And so, with what you just said, I would carry on with that. You are now having this machine that, let's just say that the dollar, it's a battery, and this battery starts to drain, and the more you use the battery, the less percentage you have per usage. And so this is what a fiduciary note system is, and which is with the system that we are currently right now before we get switched over to this new system. That's what we are. And so the fiduciary system, what happens is that you have, like I said, like a battery, and what happens is the more of this battery you use, the less valuable the battery becomes. And because of that value being devalued at the center core, then what starts to be what's already being wasted, it becomes very more or less valuable as the more you use your battery. So that battery wasted, it starts to become a more expensive to the user because of the lack thereof of the right fluency of the cash flow in the marketplace. So there is
all right.
one
All
more
right.
thing.
So you're saying that two application for individuals to understand inflation. Number one is when there is too much cash in the marketplace. Number two is that the cash becomes less, as you say, a battery. The power of the cash, the power of the dollar is becoming less and less, is
Valuable.
losing its strength, its value. So
Yes.
something that last year cost $1, this year it is $2. It's not that the thing itself increase in price or increase in value. It is just that it takes more money to purchase the same service or
Correct.
goods.
Correct,
Okay.
because of the devaluing of the currency that you hold in your hands, you have to put more of the same currency on top of the same items. So yes, you said it.
Okay.
You helped me finish that correctly there. This is something that once you understand that since the insertion of this, which it was in the 1970s, there is another factor that happens with the printing of money, because every year there are new notes that are printed. What's going on is that the regular amount of notes that get printed per year, it equates to 2% of the worth of the currency that you currently have in the bank being devalued, losing 2% per year. And then when you have something like what happened in 2020, which it caused the government to want to create all of this cash to be able to keep a facade of a healthy economy. We are now in a position to where this is gone overboard onto how they started saying that it was going to be transitory inflation, to where now we literally had Janet Yellen, the Secretary of the Treasury, come out this week and said that, well, it seems as if inflation will not be transitory, which I've been saying that the whole entire time. It was never going to be transitory. But it is definitely there now to where we have to be aware.
Mm-hmm. So transitory inflation now. So what you're saying, inflation is taking place, and the Federal Reserve, the organization that is designed to maintain the order within the marketplace to ensure that the goods and services do not escalate out of the put the ability for people to afford goods and services. So they now begin to implement strategies to ensure that inflation doesn't get out of hand. And you're saying this is why now they begin to extract. One of their strategy is to extract the extra amount of currency that is in the marketplace, and their hope is that there will be transitory inflation. Did I summate make a summary of
So
what
the very beginning, just to clarify the transitory inflation part, at the very beginning of 2020, when COVID first happened, and the current administration coming into 2021 happened to get the very bright idea that in order to be able to maintain the marketplace alive so that it stays healthy, well, let's give people free money so that people can go and keep on spending, which is the so-called stimulus checks. This was a very small part of the amount of funds that were sent, well, the amount of money that was sent to get printed, because a lot of all of that other money that got sent to get printed, which, by the way, just to kind of give you a perspective, before 2020, the United, like I said, the dollar is like a battery. So from the beginning, from the 70s to 2020, we only had used up 10% of that battery. So we have only used 10% of the supply available for print. From 2020 to 2021, we increased that by 30%. So in a less than 2-year time frame, we used 30% of our value of our currency available, and it was just printed out and flooded into the marketplace, and then flooded to many different organizations and institutions around the world, which is what we are starting to find out now in the very early 2023, which was where all of that funds went to at the beginning. So it was a very small part that was put on for stimulus, but yes, having free money put into the marketplace to be able to have individuals purchase goods and services without it being proper, we have so much to do in there to kind of just get it going and have it properly set. So I kind of lost my train of thought there. I'm sorry. Give me just a second. So what I was sitting at was with the transition of the battery that was used in that short period of time. Now we are sitting at the point to where, in order to be able to maintain the inflation rates from expanding, we had to start to withdraw what was flushed into the marketplace in order to maintain the force of inflation at bay. Otherwise, things could have gotten way expensive, way faster because of that not happening. However, what's happening is that, yes, we went from having literally almost double digits inflation to getting close to the goalpost, which it was 2%. But now, with all of the things that were put in place in order to achieve the post goal, they noticed that it didn't work, and now it's starting to get away from them again. And the only way that they will be able to now maintain that racehorse at bay would be to cut the rates. The interest rates have to come down. They are willing to do this, apparently. They have been talking about it this past week. But are they really going to pull the trigger on that, cutting the rates? Because if they do cut the rates, yes, they might be able to extend the inevitable pain, but it's going to be at the cost of every working class person in the United States. And so it would cause the middle class to get wiped out overnight, because what it would do is that it would crash the stock market, which in turn will cause massive layoffs, because companies won't be able to keep maintain employees because they don't have enough cash flow, they don't have enough money in available to be able to spend because of them losing money. So this is just not a good ideal situation. Yes, it is definitely not going to be as hurtful for institutions. However, this is what they are now calling a people's depression. So
Hmm.
it's not even a recession that they're calling. They are already calling it for a depression, but it's definitely going to be hitting the working class the most. It is going to literally probably wipe them out. So it's something to keep in mind, because the reason why I do what I am doing with this book here is so that you understand not just these factors that are at play, but that you are going to be able to save whatever you have saved and put it in 100% control and keep self custody. Because the what I'm
All right,
giving you right
Elmer.
now sounds a little scary.
Yeah, before you go, because I want us to get into the value of the value of cryptocurrency, or more likely the value of Bitcoin cryptocurrency, thereabout. I want us to get to there, but what I wanted our viewers to understand what is happening with the money in their hand. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I had a conversation recently with a seasoned real estate investor, and I happened to raise the thought of, or we had just, I just raised, I just raised the conversation about cryptocurrency, and his guards went up immediately. He wanted to have nothing to say about cryptocurrency. But here you and I, here we're talking about the money that he believes in. Right? I'm talking about a seasoned investor who is purchasing properties by the millions. He's just purchasing properties, and that is what he does. But he doesn't understand that the dollar, the money that he is receiving from these properties, that it is in danger. The fiat currency that he's using to balance or to do the transaction for his properties, there is something is happening to it that he is not aware of, and so many individuals are totally oblivious to what is really going on. So when I'm asking these questions, is that I want individual to get a sense of understanding of what is happening with the fiat currency, the cash that they have in their hand, so that they can now realize the reason why they need to pay attention to cryptocurrency, to digital currency. So when you're saying, you mentioned interest rate, can you just give a little bit of explanation? What is happening when you mentioned that they are now trying to lower or to balance or to stabilize interest rate? What are we talking about here?
So when I say that the interest rates would have to get cut in order for the inflation horse to get maintained, that's because every other feature available to them, which is quantitative tightening, one of them. They have all the vehicles available. This also is another vehicle that they would be able to use in order to maintain that horse, and that's the only one they have left. They don't have any more tricks up their sleeves to be able to maintain the inflation horse, because they overcommitted the battery life that they had left over, and they were not able to recharge this battery, because in every fiduciary system throughout 400 years of fiduciary note history, they all have landed in the very same spot. They all become faceless of their value. Their face value is completely on the floor. There is, and then once that happens, then individuals lose trust on that note, and then the whole entire financial system goes through a reset. Which we the last time that we went through a reset was, that from when we couldn't pay our debts, when we had gold backed currency, and then in the 70s it was introduced the Federal Reserve note, not the United States dollar as it was. People didn't caught on to the change because the bills still look the same. However, the whole entire system have been overhauled, and as every other civilization that has implemented the same fiduciary system to be able to compensate for the lack of thereof, of be able to maintain a proper balance sheet, we tend to see that this, all of them, by far, all of them, this does not exclude anyone. It does not exclude the United States from this happening. They all fall back to zero because there is the purchasing power. It's only going to diminish as the time goes by, which is the reason why when they create these fiduciary systems, they tend to say, well, we'll work this fiduciary system the same, and it should work X amount of years, which it was supposed to be 100 years for the United States. But it seems like halfway through, we are already dead based on the decisions that were made from 2020 on forward at the Federal Reserve level with the Treasury.
Okay, so to get our audience up to par, because what we want our audience to understand is that we do recognize that most individuals listening to this program, they are not savvy on economics. They do not really understand the machinery or the system that goes behind the banking systems and the policies that drives the economy, the decisions that are being made by the Federal Reserves. They do not understand these various elements. Most persons, they know they go to work and they get paid, and they go to the store, they go to their places of service provision and goods, and where they purchase their goods, and they seek to satisfy their family, satisfy the needs of their personal life. A lot of individuals do not understand why the thing that they had last year was for $1, and this year it is $1 and some. Most persons look at it and they say prices are increasing, but even to say, they do not understand what it means, why prices are increasing. Now, what we're saying and what we want individuals to do is to begin to pay attention. This program is designed to get the ordinary individual in it who are watching this program to pay attention, to begin to educate yourself. Take time out to read, take time out to do research, do your individual research. And Elmer has written a book, Cryptocurrency 101, Understanding the Future of Money. What we're saying now is that the future of money is changing. Money as we know it has been changing, and it is changing fast. So I'm going to encourage individuals. Elmer's book will be coming out very soon, Cryptocurrency 101, and it will give you some in-depth understanding that you will know what money is, where it is coming from, why the value of your money seems to be you're losing the power. It's losing power, as he describes that the dollar that you have is like a battery. And when the battery is fully charged, and everybody has a fully charged battery, they can buy the goods and services that they need, and it they can they don't have to work as hard to make their money valuable. But the less and less power that is in their money, the more they have to be spending, the harder they have to be working in order just to get the same services and goods that they would have had a couple years ago. Now, what you're saying, and we're getting understanding that the battery life on the US dollar has reached a place where it is now no longer being able to sustain us in our livelihood, sustain our livelihood on a day by day basis. And so now the governments or the authorities who are responsible for the economy, they are now looking for a new source of energy to empower our spending, empower our spending abilities. And that is why now we want to change the conversation now to talk about cryptocurrency and why cryptocurrency is now most institutions, the banking services has now been changed. Can you now talk about a little bit of what is happening now that individuals are getting an understanding that something is wrong with the dollar? There is, and we're gonna every week you come here, we're gonna invite our audience every week that you come here. This program is designed for individuals like myself who knows very little about economics, why the dollar works the way how it works. When you come here, you will be getting that understanding. For the individual who is versatile in economics, we're saying perhaps you will go somewhere else, you will listen to us, and maybe you're saying this that we're talking about is fundamental. Yes, we are speaking to individuals who have very little understanding behind how money works. And we're saying this is a place for those individuals. You're going to get very rudimentary understanding so that you can become more over time. You become more savvy, you have greater understanding so that you can make better decisions. All right. So the bottom line is this: there is something wrong with the dollar that you have. Elmer just said it a while ago. The dollar you have, it's like a battery that you put it to work and you're able to purchase the goods and services that you need for your day by day life. Over the past 4 years, from 2020 till now, they have burnt up a lot of the power of that
30%.
battery that supports your dollar. The amount of burning there, or the amount of usage that has shocked the dollar from 2020 all the way back to you said in the 70s. So much pressure has not been placed on the American dollar just over the past 4 years. So much pressure
Yes.
has been placed on the American dollar, so much so now that there is barely any life left in the American dollar. Once you
Correct.
understand that, if you understand it that way, the American dollar is next to dead. And if you wait until the American dollar becomes dead, then how will you sustain your life? So the people who are responsible to keep the dollar alive. They know that they can't bring back life into the dollar. So now they are switching to a different system of transaction whereby individuals now will be able to purchase goods and services. And now we're talking about digital currency. As Elmer said earlier, what they are doing is quantitative tightening, which means they are pulling out, as he mentions, $100 million per month out of the marketplace. And what do they do with them? They have an incinerator. There are companies with contracts. Their job is just to burn the dollar, take it out of circulation
Correct.
and burn it. And then what is happening? You
Yes.
have less and less currency, less and less cash in the marketplace. They thought that would help, but as we're discovering that it is not helping as much as they thought. And so the next thing that the decision makers, the Federal Reserves, has been talking about is to reduce interest rate. All right, Elmer, can you again just give explanation, some clarity of what it means by reducing interest rate? Taking the cash out of the economy is not working as they thought, so now they want to reduce interest rate. Just say again what that means.
So what that means is that I will be revealing the scam with the dollar, which oh, wow, this is, thank you for asking. Thank you for leading me here. So what's going on is that the Federal Reserve has provided the cash to the U.S. Treasury in exchange for payments. So there is bonds and interest rates that have to happen, and every time a amount of cash is sent to get printed, there is a loan essentially that's being taken out from the U.S. Treasury Department to the Federal Reserve Bank, which are two complete different entities. They are not, the Federal Reserve is not a government entity. The Federal Reserve Bank is its own entity. The United States Treasury does business with the Federal Reserve Bank. So just to make that very clear, that they are not in cahoots because they don't sleep in the same bed. They work together with, and this is how they work. So when you understand that one little aspect I just gave you, that was going to bring up the question, then who owns the Federal Reserve Bank? Well, that's a little bit of a complex and a little bit of a rabbit hole to go down on. However, there are families that have the power, enough power, to be able to have this central banks in place. Let's just leave it there. So the Federal Reserve pretty much is giving the United States the dollars in exchange for securities and for bonds, which is essentially a loan. And after a certain amount of years, they could either have it to where they can suspend the interest rates for, like they did from 2008 to 2021. And so the interest rates has to go into place in 2021, not because of the amount of money that got printed in 2021 or 2020, 2021, the 30% of the cash flow, but it was the due date for the interest rate from the funds that got on the bailout of 2008. Those were the interest that kicked in because they were suspended for 10 years. So just to give everyone the perspective and the understanding that the interest rates did not just came into play because of the amount of money that was printed in 2020, 2021. It was because of 2008. And a lot of people don't remember 2008. And I need to refresh everybody's minds about 2008 because that was the housing bubble market. Now we're not going through the housing bubble market. We're going through a currency bubble market. It's a complete different crash that we're going to have. So we're not going to experience the same things that we did in 2008. It's going to get a lot worse. Adding to this now that we have the BRICS nation in sight. And adding to this, like you said that your friend was very objective of the subject of cryptocurrency. Well, that's because he does not know the meeting that happened in Jekyll Island. If anyone that knows history of money or anyone that is looked for the history of money and they have at one point or another in their journey crashed into the meeting that happened between all of the bankers in Jekyll Island and how the whole entire scam that we are living in today with the fiduciary system came about, it's all written in a book that's literally called The Creature of Jekyll Island. This book was written before the fiduciary system came out, because of the individual who wrote that book was making very subtle discoveries, moving himself in different places. And so all of that information came. It's been out for years. The regular folk don't understand or that this book even exists, because if the whole entire United States would figure out that our fiduciary system was a lie, because of that book, pretty much provides you with all of the details as to how that scam got put together in that island. It was all done in secrecy and privacy. This is the Jekyll Island is an island off the coast of Georgia in the United States. Just to kind of put the demographic area where the Light Island is on, where the meeting was held. But this is the reason why probably your friend is subjective to the conversation around cryptocurrency, and he probably also don't understand that there has been the idea of separating state and money. There was an economist, his last name was Hayek. He got the Nobel Prize on Science Economics because he was way ahead of his time as to what we understand today as Bitcoin. He was thinking of creating such thing, having a complete separation of money and state, so that money becoming something that only the individual is able to use for a medium of exchange without being able to be, mangled or manipulated or put into a fiduciary system type of way, but having it as we have such thing as Bitcoin, which is essentially considered digital property at this point. If this is a great store of value, this is why so many institutions are getting in at the aspect from the ETF side. And then you also have certain other companies that have seen the vision and they're very heavily invested, and they are in this race of who holds the most amount. But just to put that into perspective, that it's some folks understand what happened, understand when they study the journey of what money is. They crash always into this meeting that happened in Jekyll Island. And once you understand that, then you're like, okay, now I need to really do find a way to be able to get out of the system, because it is inevitable that this is going to end sometime. And when it ends, the individuals that are completely on the unknown are the ones who get hurt, because overnight you will not be able to use your money because your money is not going to be there. And so this puts you in a disparity position. So now you're going to see probably when this takes place, because they're going to switch it over now complete to a whole new system. You probably for the first day or two, when people start to really kind of catch in that, oh, we have a complete new financial system, and in this new financial system, the government could tell you when and where and how you can spend your money, and if you don't follow the rules, they can shut off your money, and if you do something out of line, they can withdraw the funds for that fine out of your account instantly, because it is all connected digitally. So yeah, to kind of start to understand those things, and to kind of understand cryptocurrency, you would really have to go into an in-depth studying of what money is. And so that's something that I took to heart way after like maybe a year or two after 2008 happened. It kind of dawned to me like something's wrong. And I found Bitcoin in 2012, and I started to be able to get involved into the space since 2016. I've been in it ever since. I read the Bitcoin white paper. That's when I was able to figure out how all of this makes sense, and how these ideas are not new, but these are ideas that were out of their time, way ahead of their time. And now we have it into fruition. And because of all of these negative conversations and all of this misinformation in the marketplace as to how there's, like you said, there's people that just 100% believe that the dollar is never going to die. I have had conversations even with CPAs that they don't believe that the dollar is going to die. However, I've proven them all wrong, because I've showed them the data. I have the data as to these individuals are ending what we know of today as the world's reserve currency. They are going to end this. And it seems like they are doing it on purpose, because you would think that these individuals know better, as you start to become a understandable of what it takes to make economics in a country work and how to make an infrastructure work, then you kind of see that these individuals should be taking decisions to better the marketplace, not to make it worse. And all of the decisions that have been taken up to this point have
Yeah.
been literally look like, and a lot of people, not just me saying, are saying this, it looked like they did this on purpose. And
It's on
yes,
purpose.
I would say so that they did it on purpose because they got the FedNow system already alive. So the FedNow is alive now, which is the account system for the new digital currency for the United States. So this is here, and it's about to become live. I just need people to get with the program,
All
not just
right.
read my
So Elmer, we're gonna stop it. We're gonna stop it right here. We're gonna stop it right here because um you and I have been communicating. We've been having this conversation for a while, and interestingly, somebody asked me the question last week. Someone asked me the question because they know that I'm helping you with writing the book. So the person says to me, Peter, so how much cryptocurrency do you have? And I thought about it and I said, I don't have any. And I don't have any because I still do not understand what it is that I'm doing. And so I said the person that you are the one person that I talk to that have been getting me to understand with clarity why it is essential for me to make this decision. And more, the more better my understanding is, and the more I'm gaining understanding on cryptocurrency, I feel more empowered to make that step to actually start buying and to put, do the necessary um, preparation to begin to transfer and to move away from the fiduciary system, as you mentioned, or the fiat currency into the cryptocurrency, but the right cryptocurrency, the right type of cryptocurrency. And so what I'm saying is that this program, and may I just again speak to the audience who are listening, we are inviting you to come here, like, subscribe, and share. This is the place. If you know nothing about money, if you have no, if you have not been schooled in where the history of money, when you hear terminologies such as interest rate and you hear terminologies of the Federal Reserve and you don't have a clue, this sounds like Spanish to you, well, this is your place. Every week, every Wednesday at this time, we have this program that we are putting out for you to understand how you can make those adjustments. This gentleman has done the research. He has been doing much deep dive into understanding where money, the history of money. He has done the research on the history of money. He has now studied on the future of money. So he has done the research on the history and the future, and he has packaged all of that in a book, Cryptocurrency 101, Understanding the Future of Money. So I'm going to invite you again, like, subscribe, and share, and pay attention because this is where you are going to have understanding of what is happening to your dollar, why your dollar is not able today to do what it used to do before, and you're going to understand that there are some dark matters, dark conditions taking place why the American dollar is in the state that it is right now. So thank you so much for viewing this broadcast. You'll be hearing so much more about Elmer Iziri Lopez and his book. In a few short weeks, his book will be out. In a shorter time, the ebook will be out, and he also have a course that will be teaching this matter so that you will understand, so that you can protect yourself, protect your family, and those you love, where your hard work is concerned. So Elmer, I have to say thanks. You know, the more I'm beginning to love these programs more and more, because I'm becoming more awakened, I'm becoming more enlightened, and there is a vast community. Last night again, I was with some individuals in a community, leaders, and I look at these persons going about their day by day business, and they have no clue, they have no clue about the shift that is about to happen. So thank you so much for doing the research, and we're looking forward to have deeper conversation to take this bit by bit so that we can have understanding, clarity, and then we can make better decisions as far as our spending power is concerned. Thank you so much. Remember, like, subscribe, and share, and pay attention to what is happening where your dollar is concerned.